In the previous episode, we were battling issues with the scarf joints. With this episode, I just took out what was there and I just started over. I cut the slats again so that they mirrored each other. I had a larger rake so that there was more surface for that scarf to be attached to. And I think it actually worked out a whole lot better. So we're actually redoing the scarf cups that we made. So I was having problems putting these together, so I built this little jig to help solve it a little better, and I hope it'll work out. So we're actually trying this once again. I'm gonna make sure that there is a lot of stuff on here so that we can make sure that it's gonna be as tight as possible. I have gone through and I really mixed up some pretty heavy mixture. And it looks like it is oozing, doing what it needs to do. So what we're going to do is we're just going to let this just sit overnight. I don't think that I tried to do this a little ahead of time, but I did put a larger slope on that. Now it said 8:1, but I was having a difficult time trying to cut that at such an angle and keep it straight. So that's why I put together that little jig, and then to have a saw that was long enough to cut that was another part to keep it straight up and down. So we'll see how this works. Maybe we'll do okay. I actually don't think that these are going to have any problems now. Actually, I think I'm pretty happy with those, with the exception of there's a lot of buildup in there that I'm going to have to sand down, and not necessarily sand down, although that may make it a little bit faster, but get in there and get out some of the extra epoxy that was in there. So a couple things here to make it a little handy. I have this little teeny vise. Wish I had some more room to put stuff on, but I've got this little vise and I've got it on the back area here. And one of the things that I'm doing is I'm taking some of these scrapers and I'm scraping this down, and then on top of that I've got some hard pieces of wood. This would go on the cove, but I'll also then kind of sand this down as well and make sure that this fits back so that it's nice and snug. So it's just going to take me a little while to clean these up. But you know what? That's okay, because I know that they're going to adhere really nicely. And so just take a little time to take care of them. Because the biggest thing is, once we have these, then I'm going to be able to run it down and not be fearful that this is going to snap off. I do think one of the things that I'm going to do is make sure that this area is like right in one of these, so that I can put a staple in there, so we're not really trying to, you know, have it here. That's where I had it before and it just snapped in two. So I think we're going to have luck at this. It's just going to take a little time for me to clean these up. Well, this is a lot harder than what I can imagine. So one of the things I need to do is definitely get some more clamps. I do know that I've seen some little clamps that you could, not necessarily clamps, but wedges that you could put in here. And I'll probably get into that. But for now, I'm just going to do whatever I can to clamp this down. I should probably get another set of these, and they're cheap. They're like, I don't know, 10, 20 bucks, maybe 10 bucks. Maybe I should get a couple of them. But hopefully it'll get easier. I'm just hoping that I know the biggest thing is I'm actually putting in some pretty deep staples at this point, and I'm a little afraid of how the heck am I going to get them out. So that will be a little interesting. I know the bigger ones, it's not that big a deal, but I am really gouging into the material, and I don't particularly care for that. But I think these first ones are going to be a little difficult. But then once we start getting into these, at least, you know, up in here, there's going to be a lot of just slats, because really what I'm going to do, I'm going to do two, and then I'm going to do a color, and then I'm going to do two again, and then I'm just going to fill in, I think it's with the white oak. Actually, it's white cedar, Alaskan white cedar, and then there's Alaskan red cedar. So I'm going to do white, and then I'll probably do maybe a kind of a blend of the red cedar. I think that'll look good. But I'm going to clamp this one more down and we're going to call it a day. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I guess I should say good morning. It's a crisp morning. Actually, it's about 30 outside. We had frost in the pumpkin this morning. So I didn't do a whole lot on the boat over the week. However, one thing that I did do is I got in here and got all my scarf cuts made and actually had those epoxied together. And I'm going to continue on completing the rows up to here. I think what I'm going to do, and I don't think there's any good or bad way of doing this, but what I want to do is my longest pieces, I want to get all the way up to here. So I've got about 3 more rows, and then the rest are just going to be straight slats. So we're just going to go ahead and start putting this, at least get a row down on each side if we've got enough clamps. But let's just go ahead and get started this morning. Pretty well. Now what I'm going to do is kind of just make this little cove in here, and I'll do that just with a little rasp to kind of make that, to get that in there. So I've got a rasp that's actually the same size. It fits into this, and it's just patience at this particular point. Just sitting here and trying to put that cove in. I think we've got this down pretty well. I need to put some more tape on that because that needs to come down a little bit tighter. But doing good, doing good, doing good. Look at this. Right there. Whoops. So I think what I'm going to do, instead of taking this off, because now I'm a little fearful that my pieces aren't long enough, I cut them at 12, and it's a 12-foot boat, but I guess I didn't take in consideration of this, but it still would have been longer. That one I may have cut short. So I'm going to do a little just, I think there's enough there that I can just do a little, I'll just put it together. It's not going to be that big a deal. I think I safely took care of that. I think we'll get by with it. I did find that there's a lot of stress going on in some of these parts, and I really don't know what's going to happen once I take it off the form. Hopefully the glue will be dried well enough so that we won't have to worry about that, but I guess we'll find out when that occurs. We're going to go on to the other side, put a little on there, and then that'll be it for this morning.